So kids and noise. I made a lot of videos about the shared audio channel and how I don't want to have us violate other people's right to have the commons be quiet. Because you can always have earphones and stuff. You can always have special spaces and sound-insulated spaces. You could have old dance clubs where we have a noisy thing be protected from the audio channel. But kids are an interesting case. Kids can be very noisy by definition. And in one of my videos I made whining about some noise near me, somebody made a comment that I didn't even approve because she's been kind of going weird anyway. And unfortunately she got my email and wants to talk with me a lot more than I'm comfortable with, since she kind of tends to be directive and insulting. But I didn't even approve her comment. But she did say, well, you know, how are you going to deal with kids if you don't want a lot of noise? Well, I have a great solution for that, and that is to build kids areas, specific areas, and we can even put, you know, walls around them for their own security, and a lot of, tall trees around them muffle the sound, and kids can scream and yell a lot. But let's also not forget, there are kids who want a quieter spot too. I was a very quiet kid, and I was mainly, I was taught to read at a very young age, and so I was more interested in reading and thought, and so even at like recess, I remember I was at one school where I didn't really have any friends, and I would just stand there on the side of the playground doing nothing all recess, like a little freak, because I was a little freak. That's where big freaks come from. In fact, I've gotten freakier every year of my life, mostly due to my own activities, mostly due to my own choices. But so that's how I handle it. You just divide it, put a place for them to be. They have a spot to be noisy, tools and toys to play with, educational shit everywhere, giving them a highly enriched, mostly safe environment, but not so padded and safe that they can't get their knees scraped up and stuff, because I got lots of minor injuries when I was a kid, but we could also try and keep them from breaking their legs and stuff. And adolescents, I suppose, as well, are perhaps more interested in noisy environments, and so I guess I would have to figure out what age ranges of children would be in what spaces and what kind of infrastructure or staffing they need. And certainly the adolescents could have a space in which they think that they're very free and they can be rebellious and different. But I'd probably set up systems to spy on them to at least make sure they're not impregnating each other or something. There's a lot of things with adolescents I don't know about how to raise them. I don't know much about kids, but I think the noise issue can be handled by making spaces for noise. Like we're going to want, adults are noisy too. We're going to want noisy workshops. And so we want to set aside different spaces that are for workshops and then sound insulate them and perhaps have them have really good airflow. Like if you set up a forge, for example, a forge is kind of noisy, right? Or a blacksmithing place. I guess a blacksmithing thing, because of the hammering, is just inherently noisy. And so what we can do is sound insulate those. Also on the walls have things that suck up the sound, so the people even working in that space, we can somewhat reduce the noise involved and even have ear protection if needed. But this is all just structural ways to solve simple problems. And in communities, I remember one person I talked to about a community that they were living in. They had a problem with people in the kitchen slamming the cabinet doors in the kitchen. And they were always trying to say, don't slam the doors, don't slam the things, don't slam it, it's really annoying. And I said, well, put felt on them. Put thick felt, on the cabinet door, so that even if somebody was to slam it, it wouldn't hardly make any noise. It's a structural solution rather than a behavioral fix, because people are very hard to have function happily together. But we can catalog all the normal conflicts, and then we can just create solutions built into the system. So the problem can't really occur, but everybody actually can get what they want. Makes perfect sense to me. And that person did that in their community. We had had a chat with them online, and they mentioned this big problem, and I suggested the felt. They went ahead and put the felt on there, and they said, wow, that actually helped. Like, we have much less problem now. All they had to do was put some felt on the cabinet door. Structural fix for behavioral problems.